We heard today from the 5th chapter of St. Paul's epistle to the Ephesians, and it's a chapter in which St. Paul lays out for everybody in this big, bustling, sophisticated, and very, very pagan city on the west coast of Turkey, how to live this new life that baptism has given them. How to be a Christian. And by the time the chapter will be over, Paul will have specific advice for masters and slaves, for parents and children, for husbands and wives. We read a section of this chapter at weddings, for example. But in the portion you heard today, Paul is speaking to everybody. And he's warning them. Look, you're a little minority in this great, big, bustling, pagan city. And not so very long ago, all of you used to be pagans too. But now you're different. How different are you? As different as those 10 lepers were before and after they were touched by Jesus Christ. That's how different you and I are before and after our baptism. And it's no coincidence that our church chooses to read this selection from Ephesians in this fasting period in preparation for Christmas, and again in preparation for our Lord's resurrection in the spring. Here's what I mean. I think I could safely say that every culture in the northern hemisphere has customs that they practice roughly between November 1st and February 1st that are in reaction to the fact that it's the darkest, coldest days of the year when food is scarce and people tend to hibernate. Every culture in the northern hemisphere has these customs that revolve around visiting other people in their homes, originally to make sure they were still alive, sharing food, overindulging in food, overindulging in drink, all kinds of music and dancing and dressing up in funny costumes, and lighting lots of lights. That covers everything from your Halloween jack-o'-lantern through the Swedish girls with the candles on their head for St. Lucy's Day, going trick-or-treating, Holy Supper, which was practiced before it was holy. It's a pre-Christian Slavic custom. Caroling door to door. Some of you older folks and some of you folks from Europe may remember the Jaslichkari, the Gube, the play that went door to door, maybe pious, maybe comic, telling the story of shepherds looking for Christ in the manger. All of these customs were designed to help us get through the dark, cold, lonely, scary, food-scarce days of winter. But they all depended on stuff. They all depended on us. We were trying to save ourselves from the dark and the cold. A lot of those customs got baptized. One of the geniuses of Christianity is we can take anything good in any culture and turn it for the service of Jesus Christ. That's how we got Pisanki, that's how we got Holy Supper, that's how you got Christmas trees, that's how you got Christmas lights. All of these originally pagan customs have been baptized and put to the service of the gospel. But as St. Paul said to the Ephesians, I'm going to say to you, you got to be careful that you don't slip back into paganism. And you and I practicing Catholics need to be careful and aggressively defensive to make sure that other people's Christmases leave room for our celebration of Christ's birth, that other people's winter holidays leave room for our celebration of Christ's birth. And you may have to say that in no uncertain terms to your kids and grandkids. Harsh reality, but true. Make sure a space is carved out for your celebration of Christ's birth. But what does Paul say? We don't need those externals. We don't need to get drunk on wine and make all kinds of hulyaka. We have an interior source of light. We have an interior source of joy, and it is Jesus Christ. We don't need to try to save ourselves from all the scary things of winter, because we have been saved from something bigger, from sin, from death, by our Lord Jesus Christ, risen once and for all from the dead. We don't need to light 2.5 million candles, because we have a light that was given to us on the day of our baptism, and we were told to shine. Once we know that, once we know the source of light, life, and joy, we can take this holiday season and steal it back for Jesus Christ. Paul says, make the most of the present opportunity. Yeah. This is the one time of year when you can sing songs about Jesus Christ in public and people aren't going to think you're nuts. So take the opportunity to sing those carols. Send those cards with Jesus' face on them. Take the opportunity to turn your Christmas lights into a reminder for you and for everyone else that Jesus Christ is the light of the world. Take all of your special Christmas foods and use them to remind people that the baby who was born in Bethlehem, a Hebrew name that means the house of bread, is the bread of life. Take all of the joy you can find in this season and share it. But know where it comes from. Use the custom of gift giving not to descend into consumer frenzy or into some kind of competition as to who can outdo who, but as a way of giving back to the Lord who has given us everything, as a way of imitating the Magi who offered what they had. Pretty useless stuff when you think about it. What did baby Jesus do with myrrh? Who offered what they had as a sign of their love, as a sign of their devotion. That we can do. We can make the most of the present opportunity, even if we're tempted to think that everything around us looks like evil days. Awake, O sleeper, and rise from the dead, Paul says, and Christ will give you life. Where do we get that light? Where do I come to be ignited by Jesus Christ? The hot spot's right here. Every time we celebrate the liturgy, every time you approach for Holy Communion, that light, that life is potentially renewed in you. What do we sing on our way back from Holy Communion every Sunday? We have seen the true light. We have received the heavenly Spirit. We have found the true faith. So we have a source of life. We have a source of joy. We have a source of knowledge and guidance that allows us to pick our way through all of the choices and doubts and questions of this life. Not like fools, but like wise people who know Christ and therefore know life, know light, and know joy that nothing can take away. Amen.